Before interstate highways were tamed, before GPS, before emission controls, there were iron giants thundering across America's roads with raw diesel power that shook the ground beneath your feet. These weren't machines, they were mechanical monsters built for one purpose: domination. The 1960s produced semi-trucks so powerful, so iconic, that drivers still talk about them like legends. These are the 10-muscle semi-trucks from the 1960s that absolutely ruled the highways. Number 10. The 1960 White Motor Company Model 3000. White Motor Company was one of the most respected names in American trucking for decades, and their Model 3000 series was a workhorse that earned its reputation through sheer capability. The 1960 White 3000 was powered by a Cummins NH series engine, which in its top configuration could produce around 335 horsepower, exceptional for the era. The NH series Cummins was a naturally aspirated inline-six that became legendary for its reliability and durability on long hauls. What made the White 3000 stand out was its robust frame construction and its ability to handle gross vehicle weights that many competitors struggled with. The truck was a favorite among fleet operators running freight through the Rocky Mountains because it maintained power on grades where lesser trucks would bog down. White Motor Company produced trucks at their facilities in Cleveland, Ohio, and their quality control was considered among the best in the industry. The Model 3000 wasn't the flashiest truck on the road, but it was one of the most trusted, and trust was the currency that kept freight companies profitable. Number 9. The 1961 Mack B-Series. Mack Trucks has always been synonymous with toughness, and the B-Series that continued into the early 1960s was the embodiment of that reputation. The bulldog hood ornament wasn't just decoration, it was a statement. The Mack B-Series used Mack's own Thermodyne engine, a diesel power plant that Mack developed and manufactured in-house. The END 711 cubic-inch Thermodyne diesel produced around 200 to 285 horsepower depending on configuration. But what made it exceptional wasn't peak horsepower, it was torque. The Thermodyne engines produced massive low-end torque that allowed the B-Series to pull extremely heavy loads without straining. The B-Series had a conventional hood design with that iconic rounded nose, and the cab construction was considered extremely rugged. Many operators referred to Mack trucks as Bulldog Macks, and the B-Series earned that nickname honestly. These trucks were known to log astronomical miles without major mechanical failures, a testament to Mack's manufacturing philosophy. The B-Series remained in production through 1966, meaning it was a genuine player throughout the first half of the decade and influenced the trucks that would replace it. Number 8. The 1962 Kenworth W900. Few trucks in American history carry the cultural weight of the Kenworth W900. Introduced in 1961, by 1962 it was already establishing itself as one of the most powerful and prestigious semi-trucks on American highways. And remarkably, a version of the W900 is still produced today, making it one of the longest-running truck models in history. The W900's long conventional hood design was built to accommodate the largest diesel engines available. In the early 1960s, that meant Cummins and Detroit diesel power plants that pushed output toward and beyond 300 horsepower. The truck's cab was positioned behind the engine rather than over it, giving the W900 that classic American long-nose profile. Kenworth was based in Seattle, Washington, and built trucks with a level of craftsmanship that attracted owner-operators willing to pay premium prices. The W900 in its early years had excellent weight distribution and superior handling compared to many cab-over designs, which made it particularly popular on western routes where mountain driving required precise vehicle control. The W900 became a symbol of independence and power for American truck drivers, and that reputation was built on a foundation of genuine mechanical capability. Number 7. The 1963 Peterbilt Model 351. Peterbilt and Kenworth are sister companies both owned by PACCAR, but they developed distinct identities. While Kenworth was known for durability and utility, Peterbilt developed a reputation for style and power that attracted the same passionate owner-operator crowd. The Model 351, which Peterbilt produced through much of the 1960s, was a conventional hood truck with a long nose specifically designed to house big-bore diesel engines. The 351 could be equipped with Cummins NHH series engines that produced up to 335 horsepower, and later in the decade with engines approaching 400 horsepower as Cummins and Detroit Diesel continued their own horsepower race. What separated the 351 from competitors was its aluminum construction. Peterbilt made extensive use of aluminum in the cab and structural components, which reduced weight and allowed operators to carry heavier loads within federal and state weight limits. Less truck weight meant more payload weight, and more payload meant more money for freight operators. The 351 had a distinctive appearance, with its stainless steel accents and polished aluminum wheels that made it stand out on the highway. Drivers who owned a Peterbilt 351 wore that ownership like a badge of honor. Number 6. The 1963 International Harvester Emeryville cabover. Not all muscle came in a conventional hood package. The International Harvester Emeryville, named after the Emeryville, California facility where it was assembled, was a cabover engine design that was pure function wrapped in distinctive styling. The Emeryville used International Harvester's own diesel engines as well as optional Cummins power plants, with output ranging from 220 to 335 horsepower in various configurations. The cabover design allowed for a longer trailer while staying within overall length limits, which made it economically attractive for freight companies trying to maximize payload per trip. The Emeryville had a bold, boxy front end that was immediately recognizable on the highway. It was a massive truck, wide, tall, and imposing, and drivers either loved it or hated it. Those who loved it appreciated its excellent engine accessibility, cabover designs tilt forward for maintenance, and its commanding visibility from the elevated driving position. International Harvester was a dominant force in the trucking industry throughout the 1960s, and the Emeryville represented their commitment to serious heavy hauling. Number 5. The 1964 Ford C-Series cabover, Louisville line predecessor. Ford's presence in the heavy trucking segment during the 1960s often gets overlooked in the shadow of their automotive achievements, but Ford produced serious commercial trucks during this era. The Ford C-Series cabover was powered by Ford's own FT diesel engines, with the FT 391 and larger variants producing competitive horsepower figures. However, fleet operators could also spec these trucks with Cummins diesel engines, which elevated their performance significantly. Ford's C-Series was widely used by utility companies, freight carriers, and regional delivery operations. The cabover design gave it excellent maneuverability in urban environments while still providing enough power for highway operation. Ford trucks during this era were known for their parts availability and dealer network, which made fleet maintenance more straightforward. While Ford never captured the owner-operator mystique of Kenworth or Peterbilt, their heavy trucks were respected for reliability and value in the commercial freight world. Number 4. The 1965 Autocar DC Series. Autocar is one of the oldest truck manufacturers in American history, founded in 1897. And their DC Series trucks from the mid-1960s were serious heavy-duty machines built for severe-duty applications. The DC Series used a distinctive tilt cab design and was powered by Cummins or Detroit Diesel engines, with the Detroit Diesel 6V71 and 8V71 series being particularly popular choices. The 8V71 was a two-stroke diesel V8 that produced around 318 horsepower and had an exhaust note that was completely unlike any four-stroke diesel: loud, aggressive, and immediately recognizable. Autocar specialized in vocational trucks, vehicles designed for construction, logging, and heavy industrial applications rather than pure over-the-road freight. But the DC Series was also used in long-haul applications, and its reputation for extreme durability made it popular with operators who ran heavily loaded routes in difficult terrain. Autocar trucks were built in Exton, Pennsylvania, and the company prided itself on customization. Operators could spec their DC Series with an enormous range of configurations to suit specific applications. Number 3. The 1966 GMC Cracker Box cabover. The GMC Cracker Box is one of the most distinctive-looking semi-trucks ever produced, and by the mid-1960s, it had become an icon of American highway culture. The nickname came from its sharply squared-off cab design. It literally looked like a box of crackers rolling down the highway. Officially designated the GMC Astro 95 in later configurations, the cabover trucks GMC produced through the 1960s were powered by the Detroit diesel 6V71 or the larger 8V71 engines, and later with the 6V92 turbocharged series as it became available. These Detroit diesel two-stroke engines were the heartbeat of American trucking in the 1960s. Their distinctive mechanical sound became the sound of the American highway. The Cracker Box cabover design maximized trailer length within overall length regulations, which made it commercially attractive. But beyond the economics, there was something aesthetically iconic about the boxy GMC cabover that resonated with drivers. It was uncompromising in its design, no pretense of styling, just pure function. GMC and Chevrolet shared production facilities and components during much of this era, but the heavy cabover trucks were distinctly GMC products aimed at professional freight operators. Number 2. The 1967 Freightliner FLC. The Aluminum Revolution. Freightliner's history with aluminum construction goes back to the company's founding, and by the late 1960s, their FLC series cabover trucks had refined that philosophy into something genuinely revolutionary. Freightliner was founded by Leland James of Consolidated Freightways in Portland, Oregon, initially to build trucks for their own fleet, because available trucks couldn't meet their operational requirements. The trucks Freightliner built were ahead of their time. Extensive use of aluminum reduced weight dramatically compared to steel-framed competitors. The FLC series used Detroit diesel engines almost exclusively in this era, with the 6V71T turbocharged producing over 318 horsepower and later variants pushing toward 350 horsepower. But the real advantage wasn't just raw power, it was power-to-weight ratio. A Freightliner could carry more payload than a heavier steel competitor with the same engine because the truck itself weighed less. Freightliner's aerodynamic design work. Even in the 1960s, when aerodynamics weren't broadly prioritized in trucking, gave their cabovers a fuel efficiency advantage that fleet operators noticed on the bottom line. The FLC series was a technological statement that reshaped the industry's understanding of what a semi-truck could be. Number 1. The 1968 Kenworth W925 with Cummins KT-450. If there was one truck that defined raw diesel power in the 1960s, one machine that drivers spoke about in hushed, reverent tones at truck stops across America, it was the Kenworth W925, equipped with the Cummins KT-450. The Cummins KT-450 was a turbocharged, after-cooled inline-six diesel displacing 1,150 cubic inches. It produced 450 horsepower at a time when 300 horsepower was considered exceptional and most trucking engines produced far less. 450 horsepower in a semi-truck in 1968 wasn't just impressive, it was shocking. It was an engine that changed the conversation about what a diesel could do. Kenworth's W925 was a conventional hood truck designed specifically to house this enormous engine. The hood was long, necessarily so, and the truck had a presence on the highway that commanded attention. Other drivers moved over. State troopers noticed, and owner-operators who could afford the premium price paid it without hesitation. The Cummins KT-450 gave the W925 the ability to maintain speed on mountain grades that caused other trucks to crawl. It could sustain 60 miles per hour on steep ascents that would reduce a standard-powered truck to 30 or 40 miles per hour. On flat interstate, the W925 could cruise effortlessly, pulling maximum legal loads without strain. The sound of the KT-450 under full throttle was something drivers described as mechanical thunder, deep, powerful, and authoritative. It wasn't just a truck, it was a statement about American industrial capability at the peak of its confidence. Owner-operators who ran a Kenworth W925 with a KT-450 were the elite of the trucking world in the late 1960s, and they knew it. These trucks didn't just rule the highway, they owned it. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.